Welcome to It's Your Space. I'm Mary Cox, Seattle-based, New York-bred interior designer who firmly believes that subconsciously, design choices psychologically and physically influence how you feel in a space. This podcast will introduce you to the science behind how your environment impacts your well-being. I'm often asked what my process is for designing a space. It's easy. I listen. Because the truth is, you actually know what you want, and I know how to get you there. I want to begin today with a story. There was a little boy named David Vetter who spent all 12 years of his life inside a sterile bubble. He was born with a rare immune disorder and couldn't be exposed to the outside world. He could see it, but he couldn't touch it. He was named the boy in the bubble. When NASA built him a small spacesuit so he could briefly step outside, he was so terrified. Even something as simple as wind didn't make sense to him. Physically, he grew, but emotionally, he struggled. By age 7, he was experiencing anxiety and depression. He couldn't explain why he was unhappy, only that he was. Doctors learned a great deal from David about the immune system, but his story also reveals something profound. We are shaped by the environments we live in, and that is what brings us to the science of design. Because space is never neutral. It is either supporting us or quietly working against us. And today, we're exploring how product sourcing can impact your health. Recently, we were honored to present a 2-part series featuring Don Ruggles, a leader in the industry of neuroarchitectology. He asked, have you ever been in a room that you didn't want to leave? And conversely, a room you wanted to leave as quickly as possible? Well, it's possible that the room contains materials that are affecting your health, and your body is telling you. Once I walked into a really popular furniture outlet, and within 15 minutes, I had a headache, and I just felt off, like nothing dramatic, but enough that I noticed it. And the next time when I went in, I brought an assistant with me, and within minutes of being there, she felt dizzy and she was nauseous. And at first, we thought, maybe it's the lighting or maybe we're dehydrated. But then later, we learned that the store used a lot of OSB, which is oriented strand board. And it's a common engineered wood product made from compressed wood strands and adhesives. It's inexpensive, so it's widely used in construction and in furniture. But here's what most people don't realize. Many types of OSB are manufactured with adhesives that contain formaldehyde. And formaldehyde can off-gas into the air over time. So even if you don't smell anything strong, even if the store smells quote, normal, your body might still be reacting to what it's breathing in. Now, architects and designers are moving towards identifying the materials used in projects and have the resources to source healthy products. The challenge goes back to creative listening and truly understanding the needs of environmentally sensitive clients. And today, we are excited to have Alexandra Immel, who operates from the belief that if it's healthy for sensitive clients, it's healthy for everyone. Welcome, Alexandra. I had the pleasure of working with you on an extensive remodel that took over a year to complete. And I'm so excited to have you here today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Mary, for inviting me to talk here with you. Yes, I moved here from London 33 years ago, and I started my practice about 22 years ago. Worked on my own for a little bit, and then I've slowly built it up to we were 10 people at one point. Now we're
Wow.
8. So I trained as an architect in England, and I just finished my registration when I decided to come on an adventure. So I came to Seattle.
And it was an adventure that brought you here?
It was an adventure.
Okay. It was quite the adventure.
Yes, my father was American, so I have dual citizenship. So I was lucky to be able to come and work and just see what it was like here. So I threw the other half of my ticket away and ended up staying.
No way. Okay. I didn't even know that story.
Yeah.
That's how you came for an adventure. And 8 employees later, right?
Yes. So now we have a practice. I have an amazing team that I've chosen for their attention to detail and because they really care about what they're doing. It happens to be all women right now, and the way that came about is that I just had a little bit of work to share with another person 15 years ago, and noticed that women often like doing part-time work so they can get a better balance with their home life. And so it worked really, really well to be able to have people part-time. Yeah. So it just ended up being an all-women firm.
Is that right? And it was because of the flexibility? And
Lots of flexibility, and they loved their own homes and were spending time with their children. Mm-hmm. And it just, a 40-hour week just does not work for so many women. So that's how we built.
That is so true.
We built a practice that really can accommodate that flexibility. And I think it works really well for all of us.
That's great. Well, on your website, okay, I love the quote that you have from William Morris: have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. But it really speaks to your philosophy. Could you share what this belief means to you and how it influences the work you do?
Yes, I can answer that with another quote, which is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And so we really feel strongly that people have goals for their own home, and they like to live. Some people like lots of little tchotchkes everywhere. Other people want clean, quiet colors and calm environment. Everybody's got a different way of living, but we all have the same needs for our kitchens and our bathrooms. And it's just very important that people get a home that expresses who they are and how they want to live. So we try to really tap into what it is that people like and what's beautiful for them and what's useful for them. And we find that there's a lot of differences. And so we try to respond to that.
Do you find also that it, like you said, the tchotchkes, okay? Because a lot of times they have, and they all have meaning because all of it is emotional. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so how do you, I have this happen a great deal of the time, that if I'm listening and I realize what these pieces mean to them. I even have a client right now, and she has a Persian rug that was her parents', and now it's hers. And it's very important that that is brought into the design of how the rest of the home's going to work, because that was one of the first questions is, so how do you do that with lots of tchotchkes that you still want to make it pleasing, but it's about them?
Yes.
And how to make that work. It's just an interesting thing. When you said that, I thought, how do you do that?
Well, we've had clients give us a whole list of furniture and sizes and what it means to them, and we've built spaces around that. We think about focal points. We think about, maybe both occupants of the home don't feel the same way. So we, try to make little private surprises for the person who wants their little meaningful tchotchkes. So we're just always, as you've said before in other podcasts, we're really listening to what the client wants and what kind of a space they want to create. And then we're trying to use our skills and experience to shape that space to work for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, we're always tuning into their energy, what their goals are. They might want something that is going to be very expensive to achieve with a low budget. So we're always trying to reconcile all the different contradictions of things that people put forward as their goals.
I love the creativity behind how to find and listen to them, but stay within their budget and also say, this is going to make them feel better. How do I create that within the budget? Do you know what I mean? So we're not having the $40,000 rug.
Yes.
But
that's a lot of work with the client. That is really important work, is distilling their goals down. We're not just providing a product for them. We are saying, well, okay, here's your wish list. What is the most important thing to you? What is the deal breaker? How will you feel at the end of the day what's the one thing that you really would be happy to achieve? And so we are making, that's how we build the trust in the relationship of trying to come to the optimal solution.
Now, tell us about the current project you're working on. I understand that the client has an immunocompromised syndrome that makes them hypersensitive to materials.
Yes, this is one of the most interesting projects that I've done in my whole career. So there's just a handful, and this one is very challenging, but equally rewarding. And we all hope that it will turn out really well. We're doing our very best as a team. So our client has some very serious and extreme sensitivities. And we all know about the use of asbestos in buildings and how when it becomes airborne, it's very bad for lungs. And we know about lead and how it can really impact the brain. So in the last 25 years, perhaps, beginning to understand about other materials and how they are impacting us. And so we have now a client, she calls herself a canary in the coal mine because
she does. That's very sweet.
Because she has very extreme sensitivities to fragrances and to materials, the off-gassing of materials. And we've all just become used to a lot of materials, they're just standard to use, and they aren't always very healthy.
I am somebody, not to the extent I don't think that your client is, but definitely have reactions to the wrong lighting. I'll have reactions, so it's all like neurological. But I do find smells, that's it. Smells or textures sometimes. So I think I'm more maybe sensitive to things than other people. Are you?
I am sensitive to mold. So if I go into a damp basement, I start to sneeze, and that's a very good indication to me that there's an issue in that basement.
Interesting.
So I think when we tune in, a lot of us do have these sensitivities. But for our client, it's very, very obvious. And so this is not her first remodel. She has developed this system where she puts materials, or we put the materials into a jar, and the jar is left for
amazing.
2 weeks, and then she opens the jar and sniffs it and tests her pulse, and she can tell from the change in pulse whether that material is going to be acceptable or not.
So therefore, if her pulse, I'm assuming, would race or go faster,
yes,
that would indicate you have a problem with.
I don't think it even has to race. I think she's so tuned into the experience, she can just test. She knows if it changes, her body's having a reaction.
That's crazy cool.
It's very interesting. I had never heard of this before as a way of testing, but we really wanted to get this right. And so we've been working with a team, and one of our consultants knew about this way of testing.
Oh, you told me that you're working with, it's EcoNest out of Ashland, Oregon,
Yes.
and a company out of Texas called Positive Energy on
Yes.
specifying your products.
Yes.
So how are they helping you, like, with the challenges you faced on this project?
Well, EcoNest wrote a book about healthy buildings, and so they
I
have
saw
done
that. I
they've
saw
done
they
a
did.
lot of research, and
Yeah.
so they have a whole list that they provided us with, and it's the healthiest materials working down to the least healthy. So we're cherry picking materials from the top of their list in each category. So that was a really good start. They also have slightly different ways of suggesting testing, like the jar could go in the sunlight to really bring out some of the gases. So they have helped us enormously. And then it's essential that the air is really healthy in the house. And so Positive Energy, which is a mechanical, electrical plumbing firm in Austin, I know that they do projects all over the country, I believe. They are helping us with all the healthy air systems and the heating systems and plumbing systems and trying to keep everything very sustainable.
Like how? Like, are there special furnaces or air conditioning units
There'll
that
be a lot of
filter
filterings.
different than a
Yep.
normal one?
Yeah,
would
there'll be
do?
filters that will be changed. There'll be water filtration systems. There'll be balanced heating and cooling and not dust blowing through the house. So
And I know you had said that even down to things like windows. You were talking about windows.
yes.
Because everybody's sensitivity manifests itself in different ways with, immunocompromised people
Yes, so
like myself, by the
yes,
way.
starting with natural materials is always where we want to begin. So natural materials, natural beams, natural dimensional lumber, all those things
Okay.
tend to be safe materials. It's the paints and the plastics and
the lacquer.
lacquer and all those things that is where the problem is. So we've been looking at windows that are using very natural finishes, but things need a finish in order to be maintained. So that's where the rub
I
is.
was just going to ask you that. How do these companies get around when you kind of have to put a finish on
Yes.
to protect it from living in the Northwest, let's say, because we have so much rain and
Well, paint, as you know, there can be regular VOC paint, there can be low VOC paint, and even low VOC paint is unacceptable for her. So we will be using no VOC paint, and we will be using American clay on the walls. So all those have been tested, and those are acceptable for her. And the windows. I currently have a little piece of the window frame that we're planning to use in a jar waiting to be ready for her to sniff. And we're really hoping that it'll be acceptable because that's where some of the difficulties are with the paints and the sealants.
With the paints and the sealers.
Yeah. We're very much guided by the contractor who is a green builder, and they have...
That was my next question.
Yeah. Okay, good.
That was my next question. So you already answered it. But I was going to say, how do you choose builders to work with when your client has sensitivity to materials? Or do you as a firm, always use green builders?
We do not always use green builders, but this particular client was insistent that was incredibly important. This is a big project. It's going to be life-changing for her to be in a house where she can feel really healthy, and we didn't want to get this wrong, and so she insisted on having a contractor who is a green builder and has a lot of experience and cares a lot about using the right materials. And so 3BLC are the contractors, and they have helped us find EcoNest, and they helped us find Positive Energy. So these relationships have been set up. They've worked with these people before, and we're able to plug into that. So everybody coming in, there's much less of a learning curve.
Exactly, because now you become a team, and they already have worked on these kind of projects before.
Yes.
And then, is this a new build or a remodel?
It's a remodel. So we're taking
Interesting.
An existing house that had some dampness and some mold, which she feels might have initiated some of her problems. So we're taking it down to the foundation and reusing the foundation. So everything new will be built above the foundation.
Right down to the foundation?
Yeah.
How long have you worked on this?
We've been working on this project for about a year and a half, a little bit of feasibility. Then the client has to find funding, and then we're in the permit review process right now, and we hope it'll start building in the spring.
You know, you were talking to me too about, when we were talking, you were saying about how architects and designers, they're always tuning into people's energy and how it's like, you said, it's a big job.
Yeah.
You know, the responsibility.
Yes.
And because we're trying to improve people's lives. So
yeah, we don't take it lightly. It's really important to tune in. And for many people, it's their primary investment at their home. It's where they are living usually all or most of the time. And it's really important to people to be able to bring in their friends and family and celebrate together and then have quiet time, be in solitude and something that they love. And most people have a budget, so we have to respond to that too. So it's a multi-dimensional human experience to engage with somebody when they're often in a transition. Maybe they've inherited some money, or maybe their children are leaving home, or they're worried about aging in place. You know, people are in transition often when we get engaged with them. And so it's a big deal. It's a big responsibility. We'd like to try to get it right and work as hard as we can with them.
I was thinking, you know, I've had businesses that I had employees in, and it just wound up that I had all women,
right?
Except for one guy, a delivery person, but the rest was women. So I was wondering, with your 8 employees, like, how does that work? Is everyone on every project, and do you make the final decisions? And are there ever disagreements? Because we're talking about it's their space. Okay, now you have a lot of different energies coming in and listening. Do you know what I mean? So now you have the listening skills are picking up the fine tuning of what's going to make them healthy, happy, and safe. So do you make the final decisions? Like, how does that work?
That's such a good question. I think we try to use those listening skills we use for clients. We try to turn that inward too on each other. So we have probably 20 to 30 projects going at any one time, anywhere from feasibility study to construction administration. So we've got a lot of different projects. One person will be the main project manager. We always have somebody else, one of the architects in the firm will check somebody else's work. So we're checking to see what's going on. But generally, I initiate the project and I go and meet with the client and set it in motion and try to give my flavor moving forward. But then all my team, they're very, very detailed. And so they will take over and I will be watching from the outside. We use a program where we can all see, a project management program called Basecamp, where we can all see what's going on and we weigh into each other. Hey, have you heard about this? Or this would be a good tile for her. But we're trying to be objective. I think if you look at each one of our houses, they're very different from each other.
I noticed that on your website, and the house that you built that was in the kind of by a mountain.
Yes.
What was it called? Off the grid.
The off the grid house.
On your website.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was also a green builder who did that. And that was a very difficult project because it was built off the grid. So they installed solar panels and actually built it from the solar panels. So we couldn't it's a little windy road up in the wilderness in eastern Washington. You can't just bring in pump trucks backwards and forwards. So we had to really devise ways of building in that area.
How did you do that? I mean, was there snow or heat?
There's a lot of snow up there in the winter. So
I thought so.
They built the shell of it in one season. Then they took a break over the winter, and then they finished off the inside the next season where everything was accessible. And the builders actually camped by the river and took solar showers every day.
Did they really? Yeah. They camped by the river?
Yeah,
because that was a
really
beautiful home.
Yeah, and if they wanted to talk to me, they'd have to drive down the mountain. There was no cell phone access, internet access at that point. That was a really incredible project for some friends of mine. That it was a really amazing experience.
How often did you have to go there?
I talked to the builder. He would come down the mountain and call me in the evenings a couple of times a week, and I would go up there from time to time. But if there's a good communication going and photographs, you don't have to go very often.
Okay, that's really good, because I know that with you and the high attention to detail, because you told me all of your team is that, and how they're all checking in on emotional levels.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And also you have the technical, the zoning, the codes, the budget. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to do to make sure that a whole team is on board with making it so that they are in tune to whose space it is. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And we go pretty deep with understanding what our clients want and choosing materials, or sometimes they want to choose them, and we go pretty deep with our clients, helping them choose materials or guiding them for how to choose materials and what's going into the house, and understanding why we came up with a design like that. So we kind of work our way out of a job by the time the project starts on site. We just have to check progress and answer questions if things change. But generally, it means that people don't change their mind when things are happening, because you've shown them enough images that they
ahead of time
they are prepared and happy with their decisions.
You know, you and I spoke about 2026 being the year of the horse, and me being a horse person, that made me happy. I was like, oh, the year of the horse. But I understand that this incorporates people redefining their environments and focusing on innovation. And it favors new energy solutions and pioneering advancements.
Yes, I've just been in China for a couple of weeks, so I've been very aware of the Lunar New Year, which was just on the 17th of February.
17th, yeah.
Yes, it just started. And there were horses everywhere symbolizing the energy of the fire horse. So I think what I'm told is coming is some galloping energy, and I'm hoping that big changes and increased awareness of the right way of doing things are opening people's minds. I'm hoping that we're all ready for that.
Well, you've been galloping in, and you've opened our minds, you know, to not only having a beautiful space, but I love right from the beginning, you said if it's healthy for the immunocompromised person, it's healthy for everyone. Yes. That really resonated with me. So thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Well, I'm by no means an expert in this field, but it has been extremely rewarding to work on this project and with this particular client, and really start to think about how many other people we can improve their living situations by using healthy materials.
So do you feel you said you had so much gratitude that you have this client and how much you've learned from it, and you're really grateful, the whole team is, that you're able to have this type of project. Yes. Does it mean that it will make a difference going forward?
Yes, I think it would be fair to say we do often give clients options, and they very often choose the cheaper solution, which often is not very healthy, unfortunately.
The one I talked about with the formaldehyde.
Yes, exactly. So I think
you mean that one?
The more awareness we have and the more we bring it to the conversation, the more it's discussed and the more it'll be reinforced by people around them. So it's just important to keep the conversation going so that we help people be healthy in their homes and also keep a healthy planet as well.
also the other thing that could happen is a change in our whole way of building and doing, where the better product can be the less expensive one.
Yes, and sometimes just use less of it. Don't have something so big. Just use something good that's smaller.
Just use less of
it. So we just try.
Right.
Our role is a guide. We're not giving a product. Our role is as guides, and so that's how we view helping people and giving people choices. It's their money, and our job is to introduce them to different ways of thinking, and then they make a choice.
It's always the way.
Yeah.
Because really, when you think about it, even the name of this podcast, it's their space.
Yes.
It's not ours.
Exactly.
So we can guide and say, hopefully, this will make your lives happy.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, Alexandra, thank you so much for sharing your insight on the importance of using clean materials on any of our future projects, whether you're a builder, an architect, a designer, or a consumer, to make them aware of it. And we're just deeply grateful for you joining us today.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that this podcast will help empower you and teach you how to pursue your vision for your home by becoming aware of how design elements make you feel. We have many creative and inspiring guests joining us in future podcasts, sharing their knowledge and experiences with holistic design. And we're very excited about hearing from all of you and learning about your reactions to different design components. We welcome your comments and likes, and of course, would greatly appreciate you subscribing to our channel. Till next time, remember to start listening to yourself, because it's about you. It's your home. It's your space.